Ladies and gentlemen, well, Lenny, my name is Graham Elwood. I am joined by very good friends of mine. Both have been on the show together in separate shows. Fee and Pasta from the Convo Couch. How are you doing? I know you are joining me because, well, one, you just were at a Black Lives Matter protest. We can talk about that in a little bit, but we really wanted to have you on the show because our good friends at the CIA, Google and YouTube, said that you got a copyright strike for what? What happened? They pulled your channel down?
So it wasn't even a copyright strike. We get a copyright strike all the time for like random crap. We got one for Bolivia, one for China videos recently. But the first warning we had a while back was when we covered Super Tuesday primaries, and we were covering the election process and all the shenanigans that went on. And they took that live stream down in the middle when Pasta and Nico were here, and I was on the ground reporting. And they didn't really give them an answer, but it obviously had to do with the elections. Now, this time they gave us a full strike. And if you're not familiar with YouTube's strike policy, it's 3 strikes, you're out, so to speak. So we have 1 strike, and we appealed the strike. And breaking news here, they just denied our appeal. The strike was for a Wayfair video where we talked about the TikTok videos that were coming up regarding the Wayfair cabinets that were about $14,000, between, $10 and $14,000, and had the names of all these children. And Johnny did a really thorough investigative journalism on it. He brought up the receipts. He brought up the FBI files. We didn't assert anything with certainty. We were just discussing it and bringing it up because our sister, who is on TikTok all the time, was talking about how we needed to cover it and how she thought it was weird. And, Wayfair never denied that the cabinets were priced like that. They simply said, oh, that they're what did they say they call the cabinets? They called them the industrial grade cabinets. So we went on to look at the prices, and the industrial grade cabinets were never anywhere close to that expensive. But anyway, so 3 months later, they take down this video and they give us a strike for it. And their whole thing is the fact that it's cyberbullying and harassment. So somehow that video is somehow cyberbullying and harassing somebody. We don't know who. But Wayfair, I'm guessing, I don't know, but we weren't doing any of that, and we just appealed it and they denied it. So we can't stream until when did they cut it? I think next Friday. So
I mean, in all fairness, it isn't nice that you're bullying little old Wayfair. It's not fair. I know. That you guys are bullying a big billionaire corporation. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So now corporations can be bullied. Oh, wow. This is like, it's showing you it's awful that it's happened to you guys, because you guys do great work. But in some ways it's kind of hilarious. They're so transparent on their bullshit. It's so transparent now. I mean, this is the stuff that like jackboot totalitarian countries, governments do. I mean, this is like the stuff that we laugh about North Korea, right? The crazy stuff that North Korea and Kim Jong-un does. Oh, wow, that's a crazy dictatorship. It's happening here right now, and people like don't want to wake up to that. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say, because I feel like I want to be cautiously optimistic that like more people are waking up, but then I just talked at the top of the show. My subscriber number just dipped a little bit on YouTube. I was at 73,000 and it's dipped, and it's like impossible. I go live 4 or 5 days a week. I drop 2 to 3 clips a day, and I'm losing subscribers. I find that very hard to believe. And so, I mean, it's also should be mentioned as I simulcast here on Rockfin. It's one of the things we talked about over a year ago when you guys got kicked off from one of the debates. I told you, I said, that's why I'm on Rockfin. It's my backup plan, because I really see YouTube zeroing in on all of us at some point. I'm glad Jimmy Dore finally got on it, because I worry they're going to come after him at some point.
Yeah, they are. The way he's talking lately, he's got to watch it. He's got a bullseye right now on him, because he's completely done with this Democratic Party. And we can't escape the fact that Susan Wojcicki, who is the CEO of YouTube, is a big time Hillary Clinton donor. She gave $50,000 to the Hillary Victory Campaign Fund, some victory, right? Literally, and that was in 2016. And literally, the two things that we've been hit for are what? Pedophilia. We're talking about pedophilia for Wayfair. Oh, we can't do that. Bill Clinton, no way. Hush, hush. Let's throw that aside. And the elections covering Super Tuesday. Oh, we don't want people to relive that 2016 primary in which the Democratic Party admitted in court that not only did they cheat, but they had the right to cheat in a room filled with cigar smoke and whatnot. So it's getting scary out there right now. And, we're election people and we're gearing up for election day. And sure enough, it's like they started digging through our stuff and, listening to her, Susan Wojcicki, in an interview in CNN, she's like, we got scouts looking all over the place. We're going to pull stuff down on election night if they don't report stuff from what did she say? Dependable, trustworthy news sources and stuff, and pretty much
which is mainstream media.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's scary times, and I firmly believe a lot has to do with not only the pedophilia, which they want to kind of silence right now. And you can see them making a push out there. They were questioning Donald Trump about QAnon, and they want to kind of just push that back. And as obscene as it may be, pedophilia still exists, and we should be looking into it and talking about it. And the elections, the elections, if you understand the elections systemically like the Convo Couch does, you're going to be a threat to them because you're going to expose their tactics and wake people up to it. Well, they're pushing back hard. So what we need everybody to do is to go over to that backup plan you told us about, Graham, and get on Rockfin and subscribe and watch us over there because who knows? Fascism has come now full blown in my mind after that Hunter Biden story and all this stuff happening. Forget about it right now. That it just blows my mind.
Well, you're seeing, and the thing that's so scary is in the way that Trumpers don't think he's fascist, and they don't think Trump's government or the cops are going to come for them because they're white people and they're going to have their Blue Lives Matter sticker and they're going to be fine. And they don't realize how a fascist state works. Eventually they're going to get, or they're going to become full on fascist. I don't know. But the liberals who refuse to acknowledge the degree of censorship and election rigging and the stuff that the Democrats do. And they always go, yeah, but the I know the Republicans are got it. I got it. The Republicans are corrupt. I got it. It's like, that's not what we're talking about. They refuse to acknowledge that. And what happened? And they just fall into this stupid tribal my team. So I don't like Trump. Trump's awful. Biden's my guy. So anything negative you say about Biden, I'm going to just say nope. And they don't realize after the election. Oh, we'll push him to the left. Yes. Because that's never happened. Obama didn't go to the left. Bill Clinton didn't go to the left. Jimmy Carter only had one term. He was already pretty left. LBJ absolutely didn't go to the left when he upped bombing. JFK was going really hard left and then caught a bullet in the head. His brother caught a bullet in the head for wanting to continue that left policy. Truman, Eisenhower did not go left. Oh yeah, FDR. Yeah, that guy, he went left. The guy that ran on the super left populist platform, he went left. So we'll just hope that Joe Biden miraculously abandons his 4 decades of being a really nice Republican, and he's going to go to the left. And they don't want to see this blatant censorship. They don't want to see it. They talk about how bad Fox News is, but they don't want to talk about, like, what's her name? Susan Wojcicki from YouTube. And what YouTube, yeah, whatever the fuck her dumb name is, she can go fuck herself. It's like, I'm so, like, they won't wake up. And part of me is like, I don't know. I want to be involved with the solution. I mean, literally, it's a coin toss any day. Anytime you were to, you could ask me every other hour and I'd have a different opinion. Part of me is like, oh, we're going to do this. And another part of me is like, well, America, you're so goddamn stupid. You're so stupid, whether you're a dumb neoliberal or a stupid fucking Trumper, you're in that dumb cult, or you think Kamala Harris is a yes queen. You don't see what's going on. So maybe you deserve to just be locked into this hellscape because you're that dumb. Like, you really think, And everyone's, it's funny, like people are like, oh my God, 2020 is the worst year ever. When will it end? When will it end? This is the culmination of 4 decades of corporate coup, toxic capitalism, systemic racism. You just hope November 3rd, Joe Biden wins, and then yay, Santa's coming for Christmas and everything's going to be back on. There's a economic collapse coming. There's a 10-year recession coming. There's a fucking civil war that's already happening. There's going to be food riots. There's going to be a run on the banks. But you know what? You're doing all right there. You're doing all right there, America. Go for it. So
and
anyway,
we have to talk about we have to mention too, Graham, like the war on journalism that's going on too, on real journalists, the independent media like ourselves, especially people like Vanessa, or Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett. I covered that story too, and I'm sure that the mainstream media and YouTube and Google didn't like coverage of that story because we're blasting the BBC as state propaganda that they are, and that goes right along with the Assange case being so important, and also really shows just how silent all of the media has been, even some of the progressive media have been when it comes to Julian Assange. And you're seeing these lines drawn in the sand, like Pasta said, between the anti-imperialist left that is fighting for civil liberties, as well as Medicare for all, as well as the environment, etc., but is also aware that, we can't have any of these things if we have people who are brainwashed by the propaganda machine and don't have an opposition, because the Democrats aren't in opposition. So what is left? The fourth estate. Well, the fourth estate has become propaganda everywhere in the Western world. So what's left is the independent media. And we are the last bastion that is fighting against the Russiagate bullshit, the Syrian chemical attacks bullshit. We are the last people that can actually inform. And that's why the free press is being attacked. And it's the free press that is exposing Joe Biden as well, equally as corrupt, if not more, than Donald Trump, which is why they're trying to censor everybody. And I really hate it when the left starts cheering for censorship, which is what I've been seeing a lot on my feeds on Twitter and Facebook, especially, where they're, they don't like QAnon. They don't like any of the right wingers. So because they don't like them, they're like, yay, get him out. And it's like, well, guys, it's ending up hurting us. The left, the very ultra left, the people who are fighting the establishment. That's who you're hurting right now.
Yeah. And look, these dumb fuck neoliberals, especially the idiots in Hollywood, some of whom I used to be friends with, they don't share our views. They get mad at us. They blame us when we call out the Democratic Party. Like, I've lost friends over this. I mean, so I just it's like people don't. And the other thing that's not taught in America is how Hitler got to power. Americans just know, oh, Hitler was bad and he did all these awful things. And then we won World War II. They don't realize the years leading up to it, before the neoliberals in the Weimar Republic, who if you read
the working class,
they went after, they were liberal elites, and they just said, they turned their nose on the working class, and they let all this shit happen, and they were okay with so much of it. It has always been the liberals that have gotten in the way of the true left, like doing anything real for workers, for the anti-war movement. And then they're so drunk on this dumb identity politics that they can't see how awful Kamala Harris is. They can't see all the awful things Obama did. They can't see it. And they just go Trump bad, Trump. Like, they think racism started when Trump got elected. Like, they don't, and all the stuff that people who are like, oh my God, those Trump's federal cops are snatching people up off the streets in Portland. Yeah, that was awful. Obama did it to the Occupy movement.
In Ferguson. That's both places. He used the FBI to go after the Occupy movement, to put people in jail in Ferguson that are still into jail this day. So and he always does what?
Wash his hands on DAPL.
Yeah, exactly. And what does he do? I mean, and this is the scary part to me too, because I think we're going to get somebody much worse than Trump. Somebody who's way more sinister, way more,
Hitler.
An actual like that's going to understand every single facet of it right now. This is just the pre-show to that, what's really to come. And, whether you like Donald Trump or not, what the intelligence agency is doing, and I think about Operation Mockingbird, the way they're so infested into our media all over the place, with the Washington Post and all these other situations where they can shut down media that's against them. Whether you like them or not, the intelligence community, got caught red-handing trying to pull off a soft coup, the FBI and the CIA, along with the assistance of the Democratic establishment. And now you got Donald Trump declassifying all the information and saying, all right, now go and indict somebody, go and arrest somebody. But just like Ray McGovern said, they're not going to do it. They're not going to go after the intelligence community. They're too strong. It's like Chuck Schumer said. They have 16 ways to screw you till Tuesday, and they actually have a big control on our media, and they're shutting down any other media that opposes their narrative, especially when it comes to anti-imperialism, when it comes to freedom of speech. So, I mean, look out, watch out. And to see the left cheer it on, like Fiorella said, this is some scary times.
Well, we've talked about this privately, but I mean, and I've said this on my show, I believe, is like, I was thinking this morning when I was swimming laps and I was like, God, I was getting into this, if I would have started my YouTube channel a little earlier, like 3-4 years earlier, before they implemented this algorithm that screws people like us over. Because the old algorithm that was just about, hey, the more videos you put up, the more ads we get, everybody wins. We're all good for it. I would have 200,000 subscribers right now. I mean, Jimmy would probably have 1.5 million people. It would be nuts. And then they started this thing in 2017, really, and ramped it up each year. And they've like, I've gotten a big following in spite of them. And going to what you said, I brought this up to my audience before, but I want to share it with everybody today. Why independent shows like yours and this one and Jimmy and Lee Camp, Lee Camp, man, what they've done to him and RT, you can't find Redacted Tonight anymore. I mean, it's like it, and he was like getting hundreds of thousands of views on his stuff like that. So to talk to your point of what Ray McGovern was talking about, this is the propaganda multiplier I want to show everybody. So at the top, you see the White House, the CIA, and the Pentagon. They feed all the stories to AP, AFP, and Reuters. Mm-hmm. So then all these other news organizations underneath them, you see, and this is the thing I love showing people, because you think Fox and MSNBC and CNN are all different. Now, Fox spews a specific type of propaganda to a very specific audience. Their job is to keep white people terrified, especially old white people scared. Antifa and Black Lives Matter are coming for you, right? That's their thing. But they all still spew the same bullshit. And all these networks always get along when it's always talking about war. So you see everybody below there, Fox, CNN, the LA Times, the New York Times, NPR. You would think, oh, wow, those are all so different. They'll carry such different points of view. No, they plant the same propaganda time and time again. None of those are talking about people like Vanessa Beeley. They don't know who Vanessa Beeley has to come on shows like mine and yours. And they won't talk about Julian Assange. If they do, it's in a very skewed, propagandized narrative. And then you see all the masses below. So this is how they do it. And see, we don't fit into that. We don't fit into this narrative. And they know how we make our money. We make our money through clickable ads. We make our money through viewer donations. So if they stifle us, if I had 200,000, 300,000 subscribers, there'd be 3,000 people watching us right now. We have 498, which is a fine number, but they keep the message out. And then Facebook is a participant in that. That's the other thing I would put on that graph, is I would put social media in there.
Oh yeah.
And then all the Hollywood studios, because like I had Vanessa Beeley on the show and she talked about the scam of the white helmets. Now, let's not forget, there was a doc about the white helmets showing that they were these freedom fighters that, miraculously made it to the Oscars. Like, why did it make it to the Oscars? Oh, it just, and this is how they control everything. It was a runaway hit at the festivals. Well, that's all planned. They put it in the festivals like Sundance and Tribeca and the big ones like that, right? And then it wins all these awards, and everyone's like, oh man, the CIA pushes all of that. Because if you're going to go like frame by frame, which movie is better, it's Gaza Fights for Freedom. But Abby Martin's movie is never going to get that kind of traction. It's never going to get that kind of traction because it doesn't fit the narrative of America, which is all about war and oil and profit. So that's why shows like yours and mine are dangerous. And that's why they got to keep our views low and bury us on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know,
they're putting white helmets in video games too, as well now, like to make them look like good guys, and like in some of the Call of Duties and stuff. It gets really scary. The propaganda, the programming. It is exactly what it says it is. It's the programming.
Yeah, the fact that it's in video games, and then Call of Duty is advertised during, NFL and college football to get young, mainly teenage boys and some girls join up. And then you'll watch, especially when you watch football, you'll see a Call of Duty ad and then a like Marine Corps or Army recruiting ad right next to it. And they look similar. Like, hey, go fight for the Marines and you get to play this fun video game or these other, like, it's crazy. And you see how they sell that constantly. They have infiltrated every single aspect of our lives. They run social media, they have control of our phones, they have control over all of it. So when shows like ours pop up and get a little steam, they're like, uh-oh, this is bad. And they're going to try to, the fact that anytime you do an anti-war video, anything that has Syria or Iraq or Yemen in the title, it gets demonetized. They started that years ago. So it's just that right there is a form of censorship. Like, oh, you can put whatever you want on this channel, but if you want to make money, it better be a funny cat video.
Right. And one of the things that's also happening is the Biden voting push, like that is completely relying on you have to vote fascism out. You have to make sure you vote for Trump or against Trump because we want to make sure to get rid of fascism and we don't want fascism. It's like, well, fascism is here. It's just here in a form of censorship. It's here in the form of propaganda, of lies, and the media is complicit and they are now showing their true colors very blatantly, as you said, extremely blatantly against the people who threaten the status quo. And you'll notice that Donald Trump and Joe Biden, when they go at it, Joe Biden says, if you don't agree with me, you can vote for Donald Trump. He'll say it multiple times. He said it at least twice that I've heard him say, if you don't agree with me, vote for Trump. But you'll never hear the words vote third party come out of his mouth. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter. They'd rather have you vote for Trump than you vote third party because Trump is still going to be the status quo. People are still going to be rich. The poor are still going to be poor. The shit's going to go down. The economy's going to collapse regardless of who's president. So they don't care if you vote for either one of them. What they care about is if you realize that neither of them are the solution. And then you start realizing we need a third party or we need to support a third party. We need direct actions. We need a general strike. That's what they don't want to do. And the channels that are talking about these things and elevating people's consciousness are the ones that are obviously the biggest threat. And I think this is only going to get worse for us. Yeah. I think we're going to have to be extremely loud. And I think we have to disrupt the comfort of a lot of these people, just like these young people were doing in Beverly Hills, marching in Beverly Hills. Because guess what, Graham? You can march in downtown LA or in South Central LA all you want, but those people are already poor. The cops don't really care that much. But the moment you march in Beverly Hills and you start chanting "Eat the Rich" and you start talking about the ills and evils of capitalism among, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and one of the richest cities in this country, that's when you really start waking people up. And what we saw today was a lot of minorities who were standing on the side of the elite. Because then there's a certain point where this isn't just about race and white supremacy and racial justice. There's a point where you reach the economics of it. And that's when you realize that this is a class war in itself as well. And those protesters today were really realizing that. A lot of them, I don't think, really had realized it until that moment where they're seeing people who look like them. But those people who look like them are at brunch. And there's like a sense of like just rage in them, like, why aren't you out here supporting this cause? Well, there's that class divide that's right there too.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that protest, I definitely want to spend some time on what you guys saw today. But before we get into that, tell people like how they can support what you're doing. I talk about Rockfin a lot, and I say, look, it's free to sign up for Rockfin. And then if you want to do the $10 a month, you get bonus, you get Convo Couch's bonus content, you get mine, you get Richard Medhurst, you get Jimmy, you get Ron Placone, you get Nico House, you get all these people that are out there, Whitney Webb. So how can people support what you're doing, since you guys basically can't go live? So you can drop videos, but you can't go live.
No, you can't drop videos. Can't upload for a week. Can't stream for a week. So we have to wait. So the only out we have is Rockfin. And by the way, Fiorella, Joe Biden did say you can vote for the other Biden. Let's not forget about that. He didn't just say Trump. He did say you can vote for the other Biden. But yeah, you got to get over to Rockfin. Right now, the only saving grace we have is Rockfin. And we really need to amp that up pretty hard, because we know the people at Rockfin, they haven't suppressed us. They've let us do what we want to do. They reward their content creators. You talked about all this whole thing with YouTube where you would make so much money back in the past. They're just plainly robbing people right now. And they go, well, it's the algorithm. Yeah, well, that algorithm was written by a person and it has an intention. So, I mean, the only saving grace we have right now is Patreon. Of course, you can help us out. But to watch us where we stream, get over to that Rockfin, because none of those other platforms are safe. They're part of big tech. You want to put them on your little map, like Facebook, like Jack Dorsey and Twitter, who's taking a lot of shit right now. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can't trust a lot of those other platforms. Yeah. So we are seeking refuge in other places. And right now, it's all about our Rockfin. You got to get over to that Rockfin. And like you said, $9.99 you spend for Graham Elwood, you get all our stuff across the board. You spend $9.99 on us, you get everybody else's premium content across the board. So we really have to do. And also the economics of Rockfin are very important too as well, Graham, because you're actually pulling out of that whole kind of capitalist system of sorts, and you're getting into another monetary system that's transparent. That might be the saving grace out there. If the dollar collapses, you want to have some Ray in the bank. So look into Rockfin and enjoy us over there.
Yeah, it's so everybody who's new to this it's blockchain, so it can't get hacked. And also by being blockchain, and then what they do, just to explain it to the viewer. So if you're new to cryptocurrency, believe me, I was like, huh, what? I'm getting more knowledgeable on it. So don't feel bad if you're like, I don't get crypto at all. Mm-hmm. So here's what they do. Rockfin mines its own token. It's called a Ray token, right? So that's how they pay us. So you pay your $9.99 a month in American dollars. They convert that to a cryptocurrency and they pay us in that. So they're mining the token. And what that means is then that's the value of the platform. So all the content creators are partial owners, which is another thing they've done. It prevents some big tech giant like Google from buying it out, because it's not like, oh, Google just bought all the stocks. Nope. They would have to buy up all the Ray tokens. It would be an impossible thing to do. So that's why it's critical. And also, I've been starting to have more crypto people on my channel talking about this. I had Rosie Tran on, I had Christy I on. I'm having more people on to talk about, because the United States economy is going to collapse. I wish I was wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But all these financial experts, people that are 10 times smarter than me, are saying this. That's why I have personally started to convert more of my Ray tokens into other crypto. I have Ethereum, I have Bitcoin. Get knowledgeable and learn about that. And it's another way we can take this back, because a decentralized currency actually takes the power out of the centralized banks and gives it to the people. And so it's another reason why Rockfin is the long-term solution for content creators like us. Well, and then what's your handle is at the Convo Couch?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. At the Convo Couch on Rockfin, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and we also have a PayPal at the Convo Couch as well.
Yeah, we have our website too as well.
Yeah.
No. And Graham, I just want to piggyback on the fact that when you talk about the mining thing situation, mining are simply just math problems to extract these coins. And the more people mining, the bigger the problems are, the bigger the math problem is. Now, here's the thing to really pay attention to. A year ago, Xi Jinping in China has made it legal that you can mine it in China. 50% of the Bitcoin that's being mined is being mined in China. So you can see if the dollar fails, this is going to be something people springboard to right away, because now it's just the floodgates are opening up. And Ethereum and Bitcoin are the two big ones. Rockfin being a Ray token, being a part of that Ethereum. You want to get into this, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying that you have to put all your money in it. Like my mother, I told her, get away from your money manager, dip your beak, get a little cryptocurrency, get it and hold on to it. God forbid something crashes, you have something to fall back on. And I really think it's going to be what you talked about the other day, the way Bitcoin is going to be worth so much. It might dip a little bit when people get rid of some of it, but then people are going to come on in and it's just going to shoot through the roof.
Yeah, I've been watching video after video. All these big banker hedge fund people who literally were quoted like 6-7 years ago going, Bitcoin is a bunch of nerds online, it's worth nothing, are now putting huge. JP Morgan Chase put tens of millions of dollars. Square put $50 million in there. These big banks and hedge funds are taking their millions of dollars in assets and converting them to Bitcoin because they see the dollar collapsing. So if those people are doing that, we should all do that. Of course, so you can support me at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. You can go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. I have a Venmo, Graham-Elwood, PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. Those are all great ways to support the show.